Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Roman Reigns has been one of WWE's biggest attractions at WrestleMania in the past decade. Meanwhile, wrestling analyst Sam Roberts recently named Jacob Fatu as an ideal opponent for the original Tribal Chief in Las Vegas next year. The Samoan werewolf has been on a warpath since joining the Solo Sikoa-led bloodline. The 6'2" wrestler recently manhandled Roman Reigns, putting him on the sidelines just weeks into the original Tribal Chief's run as a babyface. Solo Sikoa recently said he and the rest of the bloodline members would acknowledge Roman Reigns as their Tribal Chief if the former Universal Champion managed to regain the Ula Fala. Many feel Sikoa versus Reigns is the endgame for the bloodline storyline. However, WWE analyst Sam Roberts does not feel the same. In the recent edition of the Not Sam Wrestling podcast, Roberts claimed that Jacob Fatu would do everything in his power to keep Solo Sikoa as his Tribal Chief after the Street Champion's potential defeat to Roman Reigns in an inevitable singles match in the future. Here's the way it plays out. Roman Reigns loses at War Games. The new bloodline wins that one. Roman Reigns then goes on to beat Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa on SmackDown gets prepared to give his Ula Fala to Roman Reigns. Jacob Fatu runs in, spikes Roman Reigns, puts him down on the ground, takes out the Usos, and takes out whoever's there. Takes out Sami Zayn, takes out everybody from the original bloodline. And now Jacob Fatu tells Solo Sikoa to put the Ula Fala back on. Solo Sikoa is now the Tribal Chief because Jacob Fatu will not allow him to step down, Roberts said. The analyst further claimed that the Samoan Destroyer could hold the self-proclaimed Tribal Chief as hostage, eventually leading to a singles match between Fatu and Roman at the Show of Shows next year. Jacob Fatu won't allow Solo Sikoa to give up his position until Roman Reigns is the first and only person to beat Jacob Fatu. And that's when Solo Sikoa gives Roman Reigns the Ula Fala, and Roman Reigns is back to being the Tribal Chief. With the context being that Solo Sikoa is held hostage as the Tribal Chief until Roman Reigns can beat Jacob Fatu, is my WrestleMania match for Roman Reigns, he added. 37:57-40:08 When will Roman Reigns return to WWE TV? As of this writing, there's no official word on when the original Tribal Chief will be back on television. Reigns was written off TV immediately after he was brutally taken out by Solo Sikoa and company on the Blue brand last month. Shortly after the beatdown, he was seemingly pulled from the September 13th edition of SmackDown. The upcoming episode will mark the brand's return to the USA Network. Recently, the USA Network's X handle shared a promotional graphic to hype the upcoming episode. The graphic also featured the original Tribal Chief, which led to speculation about his potential return to television this Friday. Meanwhile, Solo Sikoa has once again set his sights on winning the undisputed WWE Championship. The Street Champ will challenge the American Nightmare in a steel cage match this Friday. It will be interesting to see if Roman interferes during the title match. As the dust settled from the epic saga of Roman Reigns and his reign as undisputed WWE Universal Champion, speculation about WrestleMania 41 was already swirling. Reigns, now more powerful than ever after successfully defending his title at multiple events and vanquishing all challengers, was poised to headline yet another WrestleMania. But the burning question remained, who would step up to face the Tribal Chief? Fans and analysts alike debated who the next contender would be. The obvious answer for many was Solo Sikoa, Roman's cousin and enforcer, who had proven his loyalty to the bloodline. However, rumors began circulating that Solo would not be the one to face Roman at the grandest stage of them all. Instead, a name less obvious but equally intriguing started to surface, one that promised to shock the WWE universe. In an unexpected twist, a prominent WWE analyst dropped the bombshell that Roman Reigns' WrestleMania 41 opponent would be a 6'2" WWE superstar. What made the revelation even more captivating was the fact that this opponent was not Solo Sikoa. With this announcement, the WWE Universe was sent into a frenzy. Who could this mystery opponent be? The analyst's revelation: according to the respected analyst, this particular superstar had been steadily climbing the ranks of WWE, amassing an impressive series of victories. While not initially seen as a contender to Reigns, this star had the perfect combination of technical skill, charisma, and raw power, enough to make him a serious threat to Roman's seemingly unstoppable title reign. At 6 feet 2 inches, this wrestler was neither a giant like Omos nor a cruiserweight like Ricochet. But his agility, coupled with his strength, made him a force to be reckoned with inside the squared circle. Many fans began speculating that perhaps the analyst was referring to someone like Seth Rollins, a former rival of Reigns, or even Cody Rhodes, who still had unfinished business with Roman after their encounter at WrestleMania 39. Yet, the analyst dismissed these names, noting that the contender in question had a fresh story to tell, a new chapter for both himself and Roman Reigns. Enter LA Knight. The name on everyone's lips soon became clear: LA Knight. At 6 feet 2 inches, LA Knight fit the analyst's description to a T. Since making his presence felt on WWE SmackDown, LA Knight had become one of the hottest names in WWE. His catchphrases, infectious charisma, and undeniable in-ring talent made him a fan favorite. But up until now, no one had seriously considered him a contender for Roman Reigns' title. However, it all began to make sense. LA Knight's meteoric rise in WWE had been nothing short of spectacular. He had proven himself in high-profile matches and emerged victorious in several major bouts. His confidence, bordering on arrogance, made him a natural foil for Roman Reigns, who had dominated WWE with a similar swagger and an iron grip on his position as the head of the table. LA Knight had something that many of Roman's past challengers didn't: a connection with the WWE Universe that was electric. Fans chanted his name loudly at every event, and his popularity soared to unprecedented heights. He wasn't just a flash in the pan, he was a legitimate threat to Roman's reign. The story leading to WrestleMania 41: the seeds for LA Knight versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41 were planted subtly but powerfully in the months leading up to the announcement. LA Knight had been on a winning streak, defeating several top-tier opponents. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns had become increasingly paranoid about potential challengers from within his own bloodline. He had grown suspicious of Solo Sikoa, thinking that his enforcer might one day turn against him. Yet, it wasn't Solo who posed the biggest threat. LA Knight's rise to prominence began to overshadow everything else. Fans clamored for the match, and WWE officials took notice. At first, Roman dismissed LA Knight as just another loudmouth trying to make a name for himself, but that all changed when Knight confronted Reigns on SmackDown. Standing face to face with the tribal chief, LA Knight made his intentions clear. "I'm not here to wait in line, Roman. I'm not here to be another footnote in your reign. I'm here to take the whole thing down, and yeah, I'll do it at WrestleMania." Roman, who had brushed off many challenges before, couldn't ignore the intensity in LA Knight's eyes. He realized that LA Knight wasn't just another contender, he was a man on a mission. The build-up to the showdown as WrestleMania 41 approached, the tension between Roman Reigns and LA Knight reached a boiling point. Roman, alongside Paul Heyman, attempted to downplay Knight's credibility at every turn. Heyman, in particular, cut scathing promos, referring to LA Knight as a flash in the pan and a wannabe megastar. But Knight remained undeterred. He doubled down on his efforts, cutting some of the most memorable promos of his career. His mic skills were unmatched, and he had the crowd eating out of the palm of his hand. Every time Roman or Heyman insulted him, LA Knight fired back with even more intensity. The WWE Universe was fully behind LA Knight. He was the anti-establishment hero that fans had been waiting for. In the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, Knight fought tooth and nail, defeating Bloodline members and other top superstars to prove his worth. Roman, meanwhile, grew more desperate. He couldn't afford to lose at WrestleMania, especially to someone like LA Knight, who represented everything Roman detested: a man who didn't follow the rules, who didn't bow to the Bloodline, and who thrived on his independence. WrestleMania 41, the showdown. The stage was set for WrestleMania 41, and the world waited with bated breath. LA Knight vs. Roman Reigns was officially the main event. The tribal chief walked into the match confident but wary, knowing that LA Knight had captured the hearts and minds of the WWE Universe. The match itself was a brutal, hard-hitting affair. LA Knight pushed Roman Reigns to his limits, using his speed, strength, and cunning to outmaneuver the champion. The fans were on their feet for the entire bout, cheering for every near-fall. As the match wore on, it became clear that LA Knight was no mere challenger, he was a legitimate contender. But in the end, after a grueling contest, it was Roman Reigns who emerged victorious, narrowly retaining his title. Yet, in defeat, LA Knight had cemented his legacy. He had taken Roman Reigns to the edge, and while he didn't leave WrestleMania 41 as champion, he left as a bona fide star.